Karibu sana rafiki, karibu sana ndugu yangu, kakaangu, mahali popote ulipo. Nashukuru sana for those who are coming in to subscribe, those who are enjoying this episode and in platform I've created to interact with you with words and nuggets of wisdom here and there. Athletics being the main focus, but at the same time looking at life at large. It's Joel Chestnut here. And today is a Good Friday over here. The air quality is not great. I think we've been having some wildfires not very far from where I live, and I was outside today and my lungs didn't like it, so I'm staying indoor. Yeah, those are the conditions we are under right now. It's not as serious. I think we've had worse cases in the past, but that's Northwest sometimes during these hot, humid moments or season. We get these spontaneous, or we don't know the sources of the fire we find ourselves in, but the smoke and the clouds and the quality of air gets a little bit compromised. And for some of us who are athletes, we like being outside. I cannot take chances. I didn't feel very good out there. So I'm inside to talk to you, interact with you. Say chamge, muradi atea, for those who can speak that language. Idwe ahatwe, or whatever that is. I'll stop at that Kikuyu level. I try too hard sometimes. But anyway, it's good to be here, guys. Good to talk to you. It's good to interact with you. I enjoy your you subscribing. I enjoy you liking. I enjoy your view, and the number that I've been showing up. And if you want to keep sharing this platform with anybody you think could be interested, maybe just seeing me. I don't know what I share sometimes. I kind of come up with subjects that maybe we can connect. But at the same time, I hope we create a community. That's my hope, a community, family. We can share values, exchange love, and all those good things that human beings can cultivate and nurture among ourselves. I think yesterday the podcast or the episode I posted had a very gloom and doom scenario. I think when an athlete or any human beings passes away in circumstances that are very very sad, I think we as human beings are affected. After all, I think we are symbiotic. We have a relationship that we don't understand, but we are connected as human beings. When there's pain here, we can feel the pain across the pond or across whatever situation or landscape you're in. So yeah, Rebecca Cheptegei is still in my thoughts myself. I think it's very hard to just move on when things like this happen. Tragedies hit us in different ways, and some of us it takes a while to roll out of it, so to speak. And it's been tough reading some of the things that happened to this wonderful mother and a woman and a sister to somebody or a daughter to somebody. It's very hard to read those things, and then you move on. But again, maybe I'll just give a few thoughts on what I can think of, what I've seen from my perspective. I think there's some of these gruesome things you read, and then you realize that there's a long history of that too. There's a long history of people who've always asked the big questions: how long? Or somebody will say, the problem of evil and its manifestation, and we wrestle with that. I think we can smile it off. We can get therapy on how to compartmentalize and get over it and stay healthy and hopeful. But there's a long history too when you think of women in general, and I'm speaking from as a man, and how the suffering and how they've been victimized and made to feel that they are the ones who caused it, or they are pretty much attracted to this kind of gruesome thing, so to speak, or attention. I mean, it's twisted. That thought is twisted by itself, from my perspective. There's a story I always go to. There's a book that has recorded his stories after stories, and there's a story that I've read and I try to reflect on that in this idea of seeing whether woman in the long history of humanity has always been this person who has always been seen as less than, that they don't have respect and dignity. And when they try to get that, they are questioned that you are a woman, you know. In fact, tradition has at some point in some cultures, somebody says, "Oh, you have a daughter," and people look down like you, as if they don't have value. And so there's a story in the Bible for me. It's in the book of Judges, chapter 17. I think it runs all the way to 21. It's a long, 20. I think 21:18. It's a very interesting, and you don't read that story and you come out of there. You come out of there asking, if you're a God-believing person, this idea of almost apparent distance or indifferent God, so to speak, who seems to just has his arms on his chest and he's like, well, I can't do anything about it. And sometimes people have seen God as this absent God on vacation who is very indifferent and just letting evil run amok across humanity. And that story, sometimes you read that story, you almost say, wow, how can evil just be an avalanche? How can we have evil in an avalanche scale? You know, talk of Holocaust. People have said, where was God when Holocaust? Where was God when genocide was happening in Rwanda? Where is God when Congo or whatever part of the world? Where is God in Gaza? Palestinians, it's Christians there, right? And Muslims, right? Where is he? This idea of apparent absence of God. I'm not going to answer that question, but the book of Job seems to speak to the same thing. Here is a man who seemed to suffer unjustly. Where is God? Where is God when Rebecca Cheptegei was being dosed by paraffin and nobody, by the time people come to her rescue, she's dead, so to speak. Where is God? So what's the alternative? I'm just leaving that out there for people to wrestle with. I don't have an answer. Sometimes that's the question. I was sitting next to my father. He had cancer, and I watched him just melt off to oblivion. And I'm sitting there saying, where's God? So it's not a bad question, is it? Anyway, I'll leave that for people to debate. And it's not a Christian thing. I think it's a human thing. This idea of apparent absence of a God. Is there another force? Is there another manifestation of evil that is playing a role? Is it just God, or there's parallel powers playing along? That's the story for your life. It's the story of my life. Hey, it's athletics, right? Episode number what? Wow, I even don't know why I got myself caught up there a little bit in that intro. It's George Estimate. By the way, if we don't talk about life, what are we talking about? Okay, if I don't talk about life, what am I talking about really? So let me just let you enjoy my athletic perspective, hopefully, and I hope what I say did not make you ask. You can comment, okay? You can subscribe, comment, we can engage. Everything is open here. Open policy. I should have a sign there that says I'm open. Pendulum Riada, episode number 46. Hey, guess what? Athletics. Runners are still roaming the world. Paralympics is still going in Paris. I think tomorrow is the closing day. I'll give you some perspective. It's a very challenging one for me because I think I'm naive. I'm a freshman on that. Though I say I know something, I really don't know much. So I'll give you a Paralympics, which I've given you a few episodes on that. But today, I want to go to the night of Olympics in Zurich. It happened yesterday. Oh man, yeah, it happened yesterday. And I watched some great Olympiads still in Europe. Zurich, Switzerland, if you don't know where Zurich is. So, yeah, it was a Good Friday. It's Good Friday over here, but it was yesterday. It was a Thursday show in Zurich. They showed up. It was torrential rains, wet conditions. Some athletes struggle with that, mostly field events. So you think of field events, it was really not a good day for pole vault and wetness and shot put, javelin, long jump, because some of these things require some, you need to have surface that are kind of gonna hold your feet so that you can be able to maneuver at a very intense pace. But I'll give you my perspective or some highlights. I know you didn't watch it, so I'm here to help you out if you're interested. And here I go. I think the first event was the 400 meters hurdles for men. And the big top dogs, the big protagonists were there. We were expecting them to compete. The warlord, I call him the warlord from Norway, the world record holder, Warhol. Uh, Apparently, he could not do it. He had a preseason injury. I don't know. But the day I saw before, he had competed in 100 meters with Duplantis, Hamad Duplantis from Sweden, a pole vaulter running against a sprinter. I don't know that helped him, but he didn't show up. So Carlos Dos Santos of Brazil, was the top contender in these 400 hurdles, and for some reason he took off. The race was great. It was wet, it was raining. It's Swiss weather for you, and they were coming down the turn, Dos Santos seems to pull a hammy, and if you're an athlete, a hamstring is not something you keep going. You just stop because it's a big muscle for sure. So he pulls over, and who wins the race? In this what I call umbrella conditions, Clark, the Jamaican Clark wins, clocking 47.7. He wins the 400 hurdles. So the Jamaican has a good day, I think, because the quality of the field kind of disappeared, or it was weatherized, if I may play with words here. The conditions were very rough. I mean, honestly, I've never seen Zurich. Zurich is always called during the Olympic year. The reason why I'm calling it Olympic night in Zurich is because during Olympic year, they tend to bring all the athletes that went to the Olympic finals or the Olympians who made it the semifinals. It's almost like another smaller gathering of Olympiads. It's happened every other Olympic year, that Olympics. So that's why they call it Olympics in Zurich. So that was 400 meters hurdles for you. The winning time 47. The Jamaican Clark wins it, and then the next event was the 800 meters women, and it had what I call matatu-like package. It was packed. They kind of are sambazas. They have sambazas lanes. You have 8 lanes on track, if you are familiar. I don't think I've seen an 8 and 9 lanes track. That's too big. It's always 8 lanes. So in the 800 meters, they add 13 athletes. That is matatu, my friend. That is matatu for you. That is packed illegally. You have more athletes than the lanes. So it means you have to share the lanes when you start. And then you have the staggers, where the first curve of the 400 meters, you have to go to the turn, and then there's some cones up there. Then you cut into the first or second lane, depending. But this was a big group of athletes. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it was the conditions or the invitation. Sometimes they invite more athletes sometimes, and maybe time squeezes them. Then they tell them, all of you are going to run in one race. So 13 athletes in an 8-lane race was packed. What happens in those races is that you got to pick your spot quickly. And the pacemaker in that race, incredible work she did. She went out really quick. That means stretching the field. And so they stretch the field out so that you can have that lean run towards the front. 55 first lap was quick. That was blistering. And the protagonist, sometimes I think the only person who I thought was really contender there, or pre-race favorite, was Mary Mora from Kenya. The one thing I noticed about she didn't bite the bait. So she didn't go for the early pace or the early blistering pace for the race, or the pacemaker took them out in 55 is quick. So I think she kind of preferred lingering just in the midsection. And so at the 600, I think Mora decided, okay, enough of this. You guys, I'll take over now. She does that, and she separates herself from the rest of the field. I think she was followed by the Brit, Bell, and then I think the New Yorker Raleigh was there. So 1, 2, 3, Mora wins in 1:57. it was okay for those conditions. 55, the first 400 meters was quick, but it didn't help that the crowd was 13 athletes, a big field. It doesn't bring quality, it just brings participation, so to speak. So she wins that race, and that was that for the women 800. It was really flat. Honestly, it was a flat event. I think the weather kind of dampened down the event, that the whole meet or event was kind of damped down, so to speak. That's what I sense. I mean, umbrellas, plastic bags all over the spectators. You could see even the electronics were covered, just for them not to be damaged in the weather conditions. So that was 800 for you. Then the 5,000 meters women followed. And there's again this idea. I think this. I don't know why organizers think every event, every meet, every circuit meet in Zurich, we have to break world record. It looks good for TV, it looks good for spectators, but I think it doesn't look good for athletes coming out of the Olympics. The 5,000, they had British Chebet, the double gold medalist from Kenya. Uh, I didn't see any competition with that. They just wanted her to go break the world record. And sometimes I have a sense that organizers like to have those because it's good money. Don't get me wrong. If you break the world record, I think right now, I remember it was 100,000 to break a world record, which is decent money. Um, so they set them up for that, and it's good for TV, it's good for viewing. But sometimes you have to have the right conditions. You have to have the right conditions and competition. You have to have those things right. It doesn't just mean that one person is going to just go there by themselves and do it. And Beatrice Chebet was a victim of that. The pacemaker from Australia, Griffin, did a good job until the midsection. I think she went all the way to 6 laps, which is about a mile and a half. And then she drops out. She was still okay, but I didn't see it unfolding very well after that because Beatrice Chebet had like a 70 meters loop, lead on the other protagonist. I think Ethiopians joined the party there a little bit, but I think her name is Tate, the Ethiopian who was there. There was really no competition. It was just one lady, Beatrice Chebet, in these conditions. I forgot who was in the mix. If you watch the Olympics, that's what I call the TikTok celebrity from Japan. She was there. Her name is Tanaka. For those who are interested, she didn't take the lead. There was no way she's gonna do it because the pace was very fast in the beginning. She's not that kind of a runner. So I call her TikTok celebrity in middle distance because in the Olympics, she took off and the camera was just on her, and then at the end, Tanaka got tanked. Tanaka got tanked in the Olympics, but she looked good on camera. She was in the big lead. I call her a TikTok Japanese celebrity in distance running. So yeah, talking about British Chebet, I felt if she had competition in 5,000, she would have done decent. I think they were looking for her to do 14 minutes. Under 14 minutes. So we are looking at 13:58, 59. That really has to take a lot of 67 laps, 66 laps, and maybe come back and finish with a decent 65. She didn't have it in her. When the pacemaker Griffin dropped, I think you could tell she was exposed. It was windy. The conditions were not very fair, brutal to say the least. So there you have it, a lonely warrior from Kericho running club. That's what they were saying. And she wins. She wins in about, she won 14:09, to be honest with you. I ran 5,000 at the peak of my career, so I speak. I think I was done in college. My best time in 5,000 meters is 15:09. Beatrice Chebet ran 14:09. She would have been finishing, and I'm starting to finish. That's how good the woman is. So she won by 20 seconds, which is that's a big gap, almost 450 meters. She showed her class. She's a class apart. Honestly, there's no competition. She was running against the clock. So Beatrice Chebet, the winner. Second place I think was 14:28. Taye from Japan. I mean, from Ethiopia. I don't remember the third place. It was just they were way back there. Anyway, 5,000 for you. Brutal conditions didn't live up to the hype of breaking the world record. Pole vault. Why do I bring pole vault, man? I have to. I have no choice because I just like to be consistent. And guess who is consistent in pole vault? Hamad Duplantis. He plants himself on the podium, at the top of the podium as the winner again. Duplantis. The height of the pole vault was very low. Because of the conditions. I don't think they could have gone any higher than that. It's dangerous, I think, because even had people who are kind of trying to make sure the pole or whatever. When you go the pole, then you have to fling yourself over that barrier. Yeah, so Duplantis is consistent here for me. The American Kendrick, he retires and he comes second, and I think the third place was, I don't remember, a Greek guy. He has dreads. I don't remember his name. So there you have it. In those conditions, quite hazardous, honestly. When it's wet like that in field events, you feel bad for those guys. Anything can go wrong. And so that was that. And then the women 400 hurdles. The Jamaica again. I'm really surprised at Jamaicans in hurdles. It's becoming a trend here. It's becoming something to watch. I always watch how you've always see the dominance of, you have the Norwegian hurdler, Warhol, and then you've had Americans in hurdles, and then here comes the Jamaicans. They are making some inroads into the event that I've never seen them predominantly competing in. They've been known for sprints, 200, 100, but now even long jump, Jamaicans are trying to make inroads. They are breaking the ceiling, so to speak. Yeah, the women 400 hurdles. Whom do you have? Salmon. She went fishing, all right. Her name is Salmon. By the way, I didn't make these names up. I just make fun of the names. She went fishing, and for victory, and she finished very strong, so to speak, edging Cockrell and Little, the American. So there you have Jamaica winning, and the American. Cockrell, she's my favorite sometimes because she has a character. There's some characters you watch, you're like, yeah, that's a character to watch. I like people with character. They bring attention to themselves, but it's good attention. Win, do well, that's all good for me. So Jamaicans do very well there. And then, so yeah, the salmon. I don't know why I'm talking fishing salmon. Salmon, okay? I'm not making these names up, so I don't want people to be thinking I just enjoy being a commentator from Zurich. So yeah, she splits the Americans, she wins it. Americans go 2-3. That was good for Jamaica, another win. So they both win the hurdles. And then Anderson Peters from Grenadian. I call him the Grenadian. He threw a grenade, but it's a javelin. I don't know what I'm talking about. Grenadian threw a grenade by his javelin. Poof! The Maasai should be doing that, but they don't. 84, man. 84 meters. That's a long way from home. 200 meters. Let's see Tobago, man. I don't know, man. Let's see Tobago. He's on a roll. I think once you win gold or once you win Olympics, you don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. It's for you. It's bonus, 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 bonus. He's doing what I call bonus slap, man. Kendrick, man, Badnarek, American guy. He took him to bed. Again, don't ask me what I'm talking about. He took Badnarek to bed, man. I don't know how you take that, but he just told him, listen, you can take the lead, but at the end, I'm winning. Tobago wins, man. That what happens in the 200 meters. Tobago, Letsile, Botswana. He's just feeling it. He has now, in fact, I think one of the things I watched during the Olympics is how he was so constrained. He didn't have joy. He didn't have expression. But yesterday he started doing his African dance, like, Usain Bolt does that. Some people stick their tongue out. Tobago is winning and he's feeling liberated. I think I think there's been therapy for him. If I remember his story about his mother passing away, and he was carrying that in his soul, in his heart during the Olympics. But now he feels liberated. He's recovering. It's therapy for him. It's good for the guy to dance. Like I say, when you win, I don't give up what people say. Just go ahead and do your thing, man. I'm happy for the guy. The American, like I say, Bednarek settled for second, and I think third place went to the another American, Knighton. So that was that 1500. The Norwegian. I'm tired of people expecting him to be doing very well every meet he goes to. I'm a big fan of athletes, and the world needs to know that recovering from races and recovering in any physical event takes time. So Jakob Ingebrigtsen broke 3,000 meters in Rome a few weeks ago, a record that has been standing for 25 years, 27 by Daniel Coleman, and I kept saying it's a tough record to break. So he ran 7:17. He broke it by 3 seconds, and then they were expecting him in this meet to win. And of course, I heard that during the pre-race he talked of, his system was compromised. He was catching. He had a flu. He had some physical challenges, which happens to most of us when you are training at that level, man. So the idea that they were out for him to break the world record was unrealistic. I didn't see it, and I think there's a lot of people like new things every day. It doesn't happen. Sometimes world records are broken. Sometimes they're never broken. Sometimes it takes 20-something years for them to be broken. 1500 meters record is held by Hicham El Garouj of Morocco. It's 3:26.00. I remember watching that race. I think the second place is Bernard Lagat, 3:26 micro. There's a little bit, the gap that's the competition back then was that tight. Bernard Lagat and you have El Garouj. Can I tell you something? Jakob Ingebrigtsen has been running 3:27. So I think he's running at 3:27, which is decent. But he just finished 3,000 in Rome, and he broke the world record there. Why they were expecting him last night to win, I have no idea. So what happens? Yared Nuguse, the U.S. juggernaut, gets a win against big boys. I'm happy for that American guy, man. I've always said Yared Nuguse, if he could find his running form sometimes, he has a very Gogi-like, or this, he seems as if his arms are not moving. He won yesterday, 3:29, 1500. Carr was there, Chariot was there. It was a good field, but the weather, the season, but for Yared Nuguse, it is his first victory against the big challenges, against Egan Hengbust, and I think he got a hug from Jakob, which was a great. Norwegian is a good guy after all. He gave him a hug. He told him, well done. I hope he didn't give him the flu he was having. I don't know. But yeah, the big boy, he won against big boys, and he punched in the air. He was excited. Yared Nuguse, man, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the young guy, the American who is upcoming. 3:29 is decent against that crop, against that cream of competition. Happy for him, and I'm happy to report for you guys about the Olympiads and their protagonistic competition that continue. Protagonistic? What is that? Sounds weird. Anyway, I'm playing with Duaz. I'm having a good time. I'm recovering from yesterday. I didn't know how hard that the bad news from Kenya hit me, because when I'm watching these athletes, and I'm I get into their lives a little bit too much. I'm invested in their lives. I'm invested in your life too. Subscribe, like, view, tell a friend. A friend will tell me. A friend will tell you they saw it. I'm happy. I have a new friend on my YouTube channel. Love it. Have a great weekend, guys. Hopefully the weather is fair for us. I have a few games this weekend. I hope I can be able to breathe. Love and love and love.